What?
Nothing. It's a card from my dad.
What is it? Dear son, happy Festivus? What is Festivus?
It's nothing.
The idea for Festivus comes from the demented mind of Danny O'Keefe.
That is pure Danny O'Keefe.
I did not pitch Festivus as an episode. In fact, I had totally blocked it out of my mind.
Danny O'Keefe has a family that is rich in insanity.
Colorful, to say the least.
Yeah, and so we knew that his family life, his personal stories were going to be absolutely perfect for Frank Costanza, and the O'Keefes actually celebrated Festivus.
They were just speechless and at the sheer oddity of it, and they said, "Well, you should write an episode about it." I was like, "Oh, I don't know about that. I think we should leave that alone." And they said, "No, this needs to be on television. The story needs to be told."
At the Festivus dinner, you gather your family around and tell them all the ways they have disappointed you over the past year.
And is there a tree?
No, instead there's a pole. Requires no decoration. I find tinsel distracting.
He embellished it a little bit with the metal pole. I don't think they actually do that, but if you're going to embellish with something, what a great way to do it with a metal pole.
I was bringing in this aluminum pipe, which was instead of a tree, we now had this was the symbol of Festivus, the non-commercialization of the holiday. And I had to come into the restaurant, Jimmy's, with the pipe, you see. And I was going to show it to George that we were going to have this. And Michael was there, and Michael said to me, "Drag the pipe along the ground when you walk in. It'll make a noise, you know, and it'll make it funnier."
Well, happy Festivus.
What is that? Is that the pole?
George, Festivus is your heritage. It's part of who you are.
That's why I hate it.
On the show, we said Festivus took place on December 23rd. I think Frank says to get a leg up on the competition. But in reality, it didn't really have a set date. It was that which made it all the more ominous. It was a floating holiday. It could happen pretty much any time. We were given very little notice.
Hey.
Boy, am I glad to see you.
Are you expecting someone else?
Two-Face thing, that was based on a real woman I went to college with who I would occasionally try to approach, and then she'd turn her head and the light would catch her wrong and she would look like a creature of the deep. She was alternately beautiful and malformed looking. It was a real phenomenon. It reminded me of the character Two-Face, Harvey Dent, District Attorney of Gotham.
So attractive one day, not attractive the next.
Have you come across this?
Yes, I am familiar with this syndrome. She's a Two-Face.
Like the Batman villain?
If that helps you.
The whole idea of the Christmas card, a donation's been made in your name, was actually because every Christmas we get a Christmas card from Castle Rock, who produced the Seinfeld.
Something from Watley.
See? You give and you get. This is what I'm trying to teach you.
This holiday season, a donation has been made in your name to the Children's Alliance.
Oh, that's nice.
I got him Yankee tickets. He got me a piece of paper saying I've given your gift to someone else.
To a children's charity.
Don't you see how wrong that is? Where's your Christmas spirit?
It would always be a donation's been made in your name. We'd always sort of go, well, geez, I wonder how much that would be so I can at least get the tax deduction. And we finally decided, well, that's the most selfish thought in the world. That should be George.
What I remember that was kind of challenging about working on the Festivus was that there was a really big scene around a dinner table.
That was almost a whole day to shoot that because of all the players involved and the different angles.
The guy with the long hair, the sleazy looking guy, I believe he was a porn star. And so when I knew this, Julia knew this, I don't mean it was a part of our show. So whenever he said to me,
I think you're a fox.
I couldn't keep it together.
There was a particularly funny group of outtakes from that specific scene.
Hey, how did my
You're what?
Hey, how did my horse? Hey, how did my horse do?
Sorry.
One of the most exciting things about that episode was Ben and Jerry creating an ice cream flavor called Festivus.
So it's odd to think that a family holiday became an ice cream.
That was one of the proudest moments of the show when we had an ice cream.
My father's reaction to the whole Festivus phenomenon, such as it is, was at first he was a little sort of weirded out by it, but eventually it became, yes, vindication, you know. He thought his message was getting out. He was very excited about it.